fastest show in sports.
First of all, I'm not a gambler. I will
know that.
look. I'll go to the casinos every now and then. I'm a blackjack guy. I love playing craps. But I've never, because I was in that industry, and I'm still in that industry technically as a journalist for so many years, I wouldn't even dare to go close to a gambling parlor or any way like that to place a bet on a sporting event, because if I worked it and I worked in that and I got caught, the networks would have fired me in a heartbeat. I mean,
Right.
but not only that, we also I go back to a time when I was doing radio in Miami and doing talk shows at night on WIOD, which was the original sports line, and we were told flat out, do not talk about gambling odds. Don't mention them.
Right.
Don't bring them into the play because it's illegal. You cannot place a legal bet. See, that goes back to what, 1852? I mean, I'm showing my age here.
Yeah.
But with all of that, when you say gambling is good, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many, it's not that good, because what you're doing is you're taking a game, a sporting event, and the only reason people care is that over-under, is whether or not you're going to win the game. They don't give a damn about the sport itself. All they care about is whether or not they're going to cash in. And doesn't that take away from the pleasure of the game? See, but I'm going to probably preface this a little bit. You're going to say, no, Ed, that adds to the pleasure of the game. To me, it takes away from the sport itself. And it seems as if we're still creating that generation that absolutely, positively, without question, I am hooked on gambling, and if it's not gambling, I don't give a damn what happens in the game.
Well, I mean, let's look at a game, let's say on a Thursday night. Let's say Southern Miss is playing Mississippi State. Average person is not going to watch that game, but they've got something on the game, makes it interesting. So, let's say you go to a movie. And the average bet is not as much as you think it is. Most people think it's $50, $100. I think it's something like $13 is the average size bet. So let's say you go to a movie and it now costs almost $20 to go to a movie. If you're wagering, let's say you go 1-1, you win one Thursday night and the Friday night game you lose. You bet $20. The average odds, obviously when you win 20. When you lose 22. The bet plus 10%. Where are you going to get 6-7 hours of entertainment for $2? The average person is going to split. So
but you don't care about the outcome. You don't really care about the outcome of the game for the sport itself. All you care about is if I make a buck. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Totally, I wouldn't say totally. I mean, there's so many different ways. I mean, there's kids that are playing now. You learn the players. Kids are playing, the different video games, so you can learn players there. I understand your argument. And until I got out of college, I didn't wager on games, but my father did. He was a dentist, hung around with some guys that did. And my wife almost all the time can't even tell who I'm wagering on. So to me, it's not going to affect me. Some people it does affect it. I don't think it's as bad as smoking or some other things. So to me, it's more entertainment, as long as, like I said, you can learn how to, handle it in your life. There are some cases, 2-3% of the people that have trouble gambling. And
hang on right there, because you will admit that gambling is an addiction.
Sure.
It is, because when you say it's not as bad as cigarettes or as smoking, I get it, because you're basically sucking a carcinogen into your lungs to kill yourself. And I mean, I'm a vehement anti-smoker, so I go off on that all the time. But in essence, you even said it yourself. You said, and I think you might have, I don't want to read into it. I want to be sure that I'm clear. You said kids are doing it, or kids are playing. Isn't that also part of the issue here, that we now have a younger generation, in many ways an illegal younger generation, sometimes at 14, 15, 16 years of age, that are getting involved in gambling? And it doesn't seem as if the entities themselves, Lee, the legal entities, are doing enough about it. It looks like they're just
they shouldn't
their glance somewhere else.
They shouldn't be. It's 21 to gamble legally.
Well, yeah, but there are people. There are kids doing. When you said kids, you were just being just a generic thing. But
more college kids. Like, I go to games in Miami. I go to Heat games. I go to hockey games, I go to football games, and I see people, wagering. I'm not a proponent of betting on, like I said, individual plays. But if they want to do end-game wagering, I don't have a problem with it. There is
if it's legal, if you're of legal age,
because it's legal.
Correct.
There's addictions. Sex is an addiction, Ed. People have a problem.
Well, we could
with
go
that.
there, and we could go off on a 5.5-hour show on that one. We'd probably get the biggest ratings the show has ever gotten. But no, I follow you on that. But the point I'm making here with this one is, it's the idea that there is an underage generation that is also betting on games, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's illegal, number one, right. And it's not being addressed by the legal books or the legal corporate to basically try and stop it. And two, if you look at it, there are still many kids who are getting older brothers, older sisters, maybe even parents placing bets for them, which is helping the addiction of the young kids. I realize that I'm butting my head against a lot of things that gamblers are going to smack me over. I mean, there's people listening and watching to this right now that are saying, shut up, Ed, it's just gambling, there's no big deal. But I am thinking about the fact that there is an underage gambling culture in this country that is dangerous, that is addictive at that age, that can turn people and make a very bad life for a lot of people. Yes?
Yeah, I've seen, I usually don't see it start at 14, 15, but sometimes in high schools, we have friends who have kids that go to high schools, and those kids do gamble. They probably put bets in through their parents. Then they go to college, and there's illegal bookies. They were there when I was in college. So, I know about the culture, and they take your bets, and you don't have to be 21 years old. So I'm not for underage gambling. I'm not going to support it ever. But
Right.
if it's legal and you're 21 or older, hopefully you gamble responsibly. But I've seen a few cases where, kids have outstepped their boundaries and lost too much money, and it can affect their lives.
That's all, folks.